the way it currently stands, forced labor, slavery takes precedence over rehabilitation and public safety.
Oh, by the way, while the Biden administration gives reparations to everyone but free people, look at the billions he has run over to Ukraine.
We don't have black grocery stores because if you think about it now, just to get in that supply chain, it's almost unheard of.
They don't want the truth to get out. Okay? I don't want to know what my family did or what all these people did and all this stuff like that. Okay? You read that 500-page report.
There's this thing called white superiority and black inferiority. That mindset allows all of the behaviors that we've seen across generations, allows for the construction of these policies and practices and systems and structures that continue to oppress us. This is not a handout. This is a debt that is owed.
You know, Allensworth was like the internet of his time in 1904, 1905.
The total black population in California is about 2.6 million, and then of that, the descendants compose about 2.2 million of that. So California, with a multi-billion-dollar surplus, can absolutely afford to satisfy the international terms for reparations, beginning with compensation.
Any financial obstacle that exists that impedes the success of increasing financial prosperity needs to be dealt with and eliminated.
No matter where we've been, no matter what part of this fight we've been in, we've been harmed, and we've had harm done to us specifically.
When I got to Los Angeles, this was some of the worst segregation I'd ever seen. And remember, I'm telling you, I'm from Mississippi.
Because as you can see, I'm giving you broken history right now, you know? But I had to give it to you guys today. I said, no, I got to show them this because it's so precious and nobody really knows about it.
Black people don't have that kind of luxury. Our historically black communities have been redistricted multiple times.
Now listen, if you can't handle the TR roof, don't tune in.
On the air.
We're in
live chat.
We are live, family. What's going on? I'm in the Mass Media Group, in the building, in the house. Glad everyone is here tonight. We're going to do a California Task Force reparations recap of day one. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce my fellow brothers in the building. And let me go ahead and take this slide off. Hope everyone can hear me. If you guys can hear me, just put a 1 in the chat. See what's going on. But if nobody does, I'm assuming you can hear me because my audio looks good in the building. All right. So yeah, as you can see, family here, to your left, fam, you want to introduce yourself to the family, brother?
Josiah Williams.
Oh, okay, well, I guess that's to your left. I was talking to the family. Okay, yeah, but it's okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Josiah Williams. I'm part of the American Redress Coalition of California and the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California.
Oh.
Antonio Ray Harvey, Northern California journalist, representing California Black media. You know me, everybody calls me Tony, the nickname Tony Harvey. Feel free to do so. And yes, I'm down here in San Diego for the first day of the California Task Force reparation meeting in San Diego.
Dope, bro. Okay, so let's get into it, man. So today was the first day of the California Reparations Task Force meeting. And I think one of the things, I'm going to put up the itinerary here so the family can see it as we're going through it. One thing I definitely want to get into is the California residency. So we definitely want to talk about that. But I'm going to pull up, Tony, if you want to refer, you and Josiah, if you want to, because you have the itinerary there. Yeah, if you want to refer there while we're.
To begin with,
taking a look at it.
Yeah, this is the first of 2-day meeting. The last meeting, as you all know, was in December in Oakland, California, December 14th and 15th. This is the first one of the year, 2023, and it is held on the campus of San Diego State University. And it was the Palmer Payne Vidal Alumni Center. And it's what started at 9 a.m. They had public comments, and then they got to rolling with the activities for the day. And I would say it was a pretty smooth day. We are in the neck of woods of one of the task force members, and that's Monica Stepp.
Oh, Councilmember Monica Stepp Montgomery?
Montgomery,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're in her neck of the woods this trip.
San Diego?
Northern California last month. So all 9 members were there. Nice little crowd today, nice facility, beautiful campus. I've been living in California for over 34 years. This is my first visit to San Diego, and I'm loving it. The weather was beautiful, but that's not why I was here. I was definitely here for the festivities here for reparations, the first of the year. So a lot of things took place, and a lot of things were said, a lot of things were not said, a lot of things were clarified, a lot of things were justified, the whole 9. But overall, I think it was a pretty good meeting. So we got one more day after this, Saturday, January 28th, and then we'll wrap it up. But of course, we're going to talk about tonight.
Well, let's go over, and I want to get both of your inputs on this. Dr. Shirley Weber.
Dr. Shirley Weber, Josiah, I'm gonna let you speak.
Yeah, let's go into Dr. Shirley Weber, and just give us your take, man, on what you thought about Dr. Shirley Weber's presentation today.
Oh yeah, so she was fire. You know what I mean? She brought it pretty much. She was like reinforcing, that this is for a specific group of people, right? You know what I mean? It was based on lineage. She was talking about pretty much her own legislative intent, right? And how that we need to ensure that we focus on the group that was harmed the most, and she even mentioned about there being additional groups that were able to benefit within the state of California, but that we need to be very specific when it comes to who needs justice and who this justice claim is for. So, so she brought it. It was fire. Everybody was up in there clapping and everything, because, that's what we've been pushing for, this whole time in the first place. We want to stay with the intent of the legislation and ensure we actually get something from it. And so that was one of the things she was discussing a lot as well, is that we don't want to take too long. We want to get to it. We want to get reparations. We want to help change the community. We want to get justice as soon as possible. We want to get things that can actually transform our community, and we want to do it as soon as possible. So that's what she was kind of urging the task force to focus on. Let's focus on a specific group of people. Let's make sure we can come up with real, tangible benefits that would change our state and the community in the state of California.
Okay, so before we go on, first of all, brothers, I want to, if I didn't say it in the intro, first of all, I want to thank you two for being here, because you definitely, both of you two, have been an instrumental, and what people don't know, you guys definitely been an instrumental aspect in this reparations movement here. Now, Josiah, before we go on and go back to the itinerary, but before that, man, for the people that don't know, you mentioned ARC Bay Area, right? Can you let people know where you're from, and why you decided to travel down all the way to LA and not just, stay in the Bay Area? Why was it important for you to be here today, bro?
Okay, no, I appreciate that. And I want to shout out Amanda Mass Media, because, y'all been here from the beginning as well, holding it down, doing this work for free, volunteering, recording, showing all the reparations task force for the people, put it on YouTube, so that people can be aware, and pretty much, assisting with the communications to ensure that our people can actually see what's going on, as much as possible, and also have their comments and different things like that. So it definitely, want to shout y'all as well. So basically, I came out here because, we've been involved, and I've been involved. I just, haven't been, video or anything, but I've been behind the scenes, from the beginning. So, honestly, before it was even, a reparations bill, Assembly Joint Resolution 21, when it was just a resolution, we were just regular, people meeting, discussing how we're going to try to help change the community, right? And then after that, we actually had a resolution, that we was working on. Then, it turned to Assembly Concurrent Resolution 130, right? And then that was actually passed. And after that, that's when AB 3121 came into effect. So our team worked on that, shout out to Marcus, helping
Shout
with
out,
writing
Marcus
the
Champion.
legislation, you know what I mean? And our
Yeah.
whole team, CJEC, throughout the LA, the Bay, Sacramento, we came together, and just continued to push, for this, to become law, which it is now, so pretty much, I was there, along the way, and that's the reason why I'm here today. I've been at every, task force meeting that we've had in person, trying to let people know, what we actually need, to focus on, right? To tell the task force, what we need to focus on as well, to ensure that this is specifically for our people. So that's why I'm here today. The same thing, just keep pushing until we get justice and until we get reparations.
Fast. And I'm just, if you don't mind passing the mic, some of you, Tony, like, from Sacramento, like, why, you traveled down here to LA, and I think yourself, you've been to, and I could be incorrect, but you yourself have been to every single in-person task force meeting. Why'd you come down to San Diego, bro?
Oh,
and why is it important that
you
came down to San Diego?
Omoyo, we had discussed this in Oakland, and I was undecided whether I was going to be here or not, but knowing that I really want to be here. And then there was one point, oh yeah, I'm going, I'm not going. And just this past Monday is Friday now. So Monday, I had called it off. I was not going. And I was in a meeting with California Black Media.
Shout out to California Black Media.
Hey, to the whole, and I really appreciate, what they're doing to Regina, Tanu, Henry, and Joe Bowers and the rest of the gang. We were in a meeting Monday, and I basically had called it off. I was just going to attend the virtual thing, as I usually do when I'm not in person. And then the next day, it was just brought to my attention that I should be here. So that was it. Tuesday, I said I was going to be here. Friday, I'm here. Of course, I'm attached to this in many ways, but a majority of that attachment is through journalism, because I'm trying to report on everything that the task force is doing and what they're presenting and how they're presenting it to the people and what the information that's coming out of there. So I'm disseminating information. So I just thought that was important from a journalistic perspective, because it's not that many people covering it. They're only looking for certain sensationalism, bites, angles to pull out of it and, go mainstream with it. But I've been trying and it's a lot to cover. It's a big undertaking. It's a lot of ground to cover, covering this thing. And I've been covering it before it became bill. I'm Assembly Bill 3121. So I feel what you're saying there. In that point, Josiah, I'm glad you were there, at the beginning too. So I'm just gonna ride it all the way out, until June, or what is it, July 2023, when they end their charge. The task force meeting will end their charge this summer, and then it'll come out with another set of recommendations, and that pretty much will end it. It won't end there, but that would be the end of their charge. So I think the next meeting will be in Sacramento.
Yep.
I live in Sacramento. Of course, I'll be there. I think it's going to be in Compton the next month after that. I think it's going to be in the Central Valley after the Compton deal. And then that's when things are really going to get sped up so they can come to a conclusion, a finish. But I will be there every step of the way. This has been a great asset to my career, okay? Because I want to see this thing through. I want to see that California is the blueprint to make this happen, so we could correct the wrongs, that's been happening to us for over 400 years. And also, I had the opportunity to come down Southern California, San Diego, where I've never been in my 34 years of living in California. So that was another aspect of me coming down there too. And then, today was a fulfilling day. There was a lot of things going on. You really had to pay attention. I was in and out of some things because a lot of people were getting interviewed on the side. Of course,
You did some interviews too, right?
Yeah, I did some interviews myself.
Who'd
too.
you interview?
Well, I listened in on one of the interviews. Let me put it like that. I know Friday Jones was doing her thing with a couple of people.
Okay.
And I filmed that session. So was Chad Brown. And of course, I talked to many people and other reporters and things like that while I'm still trying to keep my ears to the ground to the activities that was happening, with the panel. And all 9 members, as I said before, were in attendance. And,
well, it's just interesting that you say that. And I just kind of want to go back to in terms of like people just getting sound bites, because I don't know if it's me, fam, but do you notice like a lot of people will be there for like the public comments, and then like it's both media and like other people too, and they just be bouncing. You know what I mean?
Half the room was gone after public comments. The public comments went on for about almost 90 minutes, maybe.
Roughly,
now,
yeah.
Right? And then as soon as after everyone comes and they say, they're pretty much gone. There's a lot of reporters still there, of course. You and Kim Mims are still there, and the rest of the members from CJEC and NAA. I don't understand. I really don't understand that part. Okay, but I don't want to dwell on it either. Maybe people have other things they have to do throughout their day. But if you're really that focused on it, you would stay and listen. Maybe they listen, leave, and go and and view it on YouTube or California Department of Justice. They air the same meetings as well. I don't know, but I wish they would stay. And stay engaged.
Well, speaking of that, about staying engaged, let's go back to, if you don't mind, pulling up the itinerary so we can kind of get into it a little bit. And I have the itinerary on the screen right now. Here, let me go back to slide. Okay, so the second page. Let's see where we at. Okay, so they had some interesting key questions. Maybe we can go over. Maybe I'll ask y'all, see what y'all think about it.
Go ahead.
They had 5 key questions. The first question is, what are the damage timeframes? This becomes even more important for the prioritization of African American descendants of persons enslaved in the United States. 1865 to 1960 question mark.
Yes.
And we'll go ahead and what do y'all think about that?
Well, let's start here before we get into that question, because that's Javon Scott Lewis, Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, California, Berkeley. He made some clarifications on some things that's been erroneously out there in the media as far as misinformation about the figures and things like that, the 200 and such thousand, and they haven't really been talking about that because the number came out of only like one of the harms, and I believe that had to do with housing and discrimination. Okay, and he put that out there. We haven't made any decisions on that because the 5 panel experts are still, deliberating about the data. And once they get the data, then they're able to assess these type of figures. So that's pretty much, what he was trying to get out there, which I think was really important because, everyone with some type of trying to give $300,000 to, each and every Black person here in California. And it's not facts, it's unfactual. It has no bearing to the truth at all and stuff. And he was pretty expressive in letting everyone know, this is not happening, in his own Jamaican style way of articulating things.
What about the, I guess I'm really want to focus on, if I believe correct on there, what does the date say? 1865
to 1960.
1960 in terms of, I believe they're talking about residency, right? Or are they just talking about residency or the harms, right?
Yes.
From that particular time. Do you think, in your opinion, Josiah, that that's a pretty good time frame, or do you think it should be extended out, like to, like, I think they even mentioned about having the time cutoff from a certain minimum time,
30, 2020.
September, when the bill AB 3121
was signed
passed,
into law.
signed into law.
Eligibility is like if you were living in
Right.
the state of California, September 30th, 2020, and that's when Assembly Bill 3121 was signed into law. You should be eligible for some type of reparation.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what's up, Josh?
So, I don't necessarily agree with the 1960, but I think even the task force itself, they were just kind of using that initially. What they were kind of discussing was that as they get more data, more information, then they'll be able to like widen the time frame for what they can actually account for to a certain degree, right? In regards to the harms. So those years aren't saying that you can only, qualify within this time frame. And as was just recently stated, when it came to the cutoff time, there was multiple recommendations made, but some of them was when the task force was signed into law. Some was different. I've heard 20 years. I heard residency. I heard other things as well, but I think it's a difficult thing to come up with specifically, because there was different arguments being made. Some being made, well, people can face the harms even if they're here for a short period of time. Camila, she spoke about someone being in the state, for a long period of time, then moving out right before implementation. How that can have devastating impact on the family that it was to hear. And I barely just made it out, and now I can't receive reparations. Then someone who's been here for a short period of time could actually benefit. So for me, it's kind of difficult. I kind of want to hear more, information in regards to that before officially deciding. But I don't think it should be 1960. I think it, should definitely go. And we're continuing to endure those harms today. So, but I think you kind of want to keep it to where, it's not made to where anyone could just barely come here and then get the same type of benefit as someone who's been here for a long time. But that's another thing that they discussed as well, when they were talking about there could be a baseline, and then if you endure specific harms, there can be like an additional
some kind of like a tier
in a way, yes, to where, okay, if you've been in the state, there's a baseline reparations that you get, but then tier 2 would be, oh, well, you've been here for a certain amount of years, so you qualify for more. And so, I mean, there's multiple ways of dealing with it. That one, in my opinion, might be a little better, but I'm also open to kind of hear more, in the argument more regarding that as well.
Okay, let's go. Actually, if you guys don't have any more on question 1, I'm just gonna pull up question 2 here for the fam, and we get into it because I don't think they reached some of the other questions, but I know they did this one. Will there be a California residency requirement? If yes, how will it be determined?
That was kind of connected to one in a certain way, just because everyone there did say that there should be some form of residency requirement. But then they didn't officially decide. That was the question that remained when it came to that subject, is some had different time frames. So
okay, and
we're talking about the 5 harms. I'm sorry, and we're talking about the 5 harms that they had discussed as far as having different time frames.
Yeah,
and what harm would that person be attached to? Okay, what was the harm made to you? Where you can be eligible for whatever compensation that they, the 5-member panel experts come up with.
Yeah, this is, and family, this is one of the things when the task force is going through these particular types of issues, right, and challenges that we have to go through, because I mean, I know some of us in this reparations movement, we have these sidebar conversations about what does it look like, and it's difficult, especially when you're talking about we've been redlined, and so forth, and then you just have to move out the state because you can't afford to live here anymore. And so you just, I mean, there has to be a cutoff point at some time, and I guess the task force eventually has to figure that out. But maybe I want to go to question 3, 4, and 5, and I know they haven't actually. Wait, did they? I don't think they answered this or talked about it yet, but I definitely at least want to kind of give or get your opinions on it. So when they actually go into it, you know, I don't know if they might agree, you know, with what we might have to say or not, but, you know, this is all opinions. You know, we don't, you know, we're not the task force, but, you know, just trying to give us to think about it, you know, the people to think about, you know, what does this look like? So question 3 says, what year determines the beginning of harm? Are there different starting points and end points for each atrocity category? Man, that is
it's pretty heavy.
What, yeah, I mean, what year determines?
Really
Yeah,
a lot of things that's going on. You know, as far as generational things too. You know, what maybe happened to your family, what happened to you afterwards, what happened to maybe your grandkids. You know, after you. You know, they they have a lot of like you said, a lot of issues that they have to sort out here in these areas.
I mean, do you think and you know, this is probably not going to be something that the task force might think about, but I'm just going to put it out there. I mean, what happens if, like, I'm just going to put this scenario out, right? You just say maybe one of the criteria is, I think in San Francisco, they have the 18, you have to be 18 years old, right? So say like one of the criteria is you have to be 18. God forbid, you know, their mother or father or grandmother, grandfather, they just turned 18, right? Their mother, father, or grandmother, grandfather passed away, right? Reparations is happening. But now the ones who could have been eligible are now deceased, right? Now you're talking about somebody who's 18 who may not be eligible at that particular time. So it's like, could there be like a carve out for like people like who are descendants of those within this time period that may have, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to think out loud.
Yeah, if they can figure out a way to construct a language, you know, where something like that can happen.
Yeah.
Because somebody have to be there to accept it. Okay, if you know these people are deceased, and then maybe, you know, if you're not, if I'm not wrong, if you're not 18 at that time, maybe there should be like a grace period where, you know, when you do turn 18,
yeah,
you know what I mean, and then you are able to, you know, take on these compensations and stuff.
Because
it's just my thought.
Because you know, go ahead, bro. Yeah,
they had Dr. Thomas Kramer,
which, by the way, we actually did an interview with.
We interviewed him in Oakland. It was a pretty interesting discussion, and we should talk about that sometime.
Well, we actually interviewed him after our conversation in Oakland. Like we actually literally interviewed him on our.
When you did.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like we actually had an additional interview after.
Oh, you did another one?
Yeah, we did another one. So we're actually going to be showing that interview on ATM after our conversation. But yeah, we did. We did.
I
actually.
I want to say something about that real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Go into it.
Talking about the economist. Dr. Thomas Kramer spoke, and Dr. William Sprigg. They were the only two that spoke. That were they spoke virtually, and they, you know, hey, they pretty much were telling, you tell us what to do. You're the task force member, and we will sort it out. Okay, so they already know what they want to do, because they already know, you know, how to throw these numbers around and everything, and figure out, you know, what harm should be attached to what. Okay, I like that part, but I do want to talk about, you know, Thomas Kramer, because when we did speak to him, at the Oakland task force meeting, December 14th and 15th.
Yep.
That's when he was there with Dr. Cassia Campbell, and they spoke live. We was wondering, what's your skin in the game? Okay, you want to help out. He's been through it in Germany. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then when he sees what's happening to the black people here, he want to be, he wants to be in part of that fight. He wants to help out in many different levels and stuff. That was pretty interesting. Okay, because even from the beginning, before we met this guy, I'm like, where he come from? Okay, right. Why he's said some things that wasn't really agreeable or plausible with the black community. I understand that. Okay, because you got to live in our shoes. You got to walk in our footsteps and stuff. But I understand where he's coming from too. Okay, because we were talking about the Holocaust and he's from Germany, and he teaches back east somewhere in Connecticut or something like that. State too. Okay. And so he's really into this fight and trying to find out, to sort out these type of things. I just thought that was pretty interesting when he spoke as well. Matter of fact, I think he's probably the most vocal out of all five of them. I know we haven't heard from Mr. William Darity in quite some time. You know how down that brother is. And, so I'm not going to go there. But Dr. Kramer, he has been passionate about this whole fight, and I mean, he's non-black. Okay, but whatever that is, and I'll go back to it because they even Spriggs too. They said, "You give us the data, we'll sort it out." They got it. Okay, 'cause they have that expertise. So what we're talking about, we're trying to articulate it. Okay, that's one thing, but that was one of the most important things that came from him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I wanted to first just comment on part 3, where you said the year determining the beginning of harm. Just because I recall that was something that Dr. Brown had actually spoke about, right? And he was explaining how, the state of California with the original governor and then the harms that he committed. Yes. And so basically, he was talking about how that maybe there's a way that information could be included, but I think the initial year was deemed as 1900. And so they were trying to figure, and that was something that they didn't officially decide on, but it was a discussion that was being had to where they were trying to see, okay, well, how can we ensure that it's from 1900 to, potentially the present, but then at the same time include some of the harms based on what the governor did when he founded the state of California. So they didn't necessarily go over the full aspect of that question, but they did at least have somewhat of a discussion on it. And then in regards to San Francisco, we talk about the 18-year-old age. Pretty much what Tony was saying right now kind of is aligned with that, right? They can actually decide, right? Like, what I mean? They can decide what would be the best way to ensure that the majority of our people is included and not excluded. So, I mean, in my opinion, like and I believe today they said that they're still kind of working on that, right? So it's not something that's official, that is, it's automatically going to the city council or anything like that. It's something that they're currently working on. So I think maybe that's something that they may want to consider, to make some modifications to ensure that, someone who is in dire need, who actually is eligible, end up not being just because they're not 18.
Yeah, facts. All right, let's go on to some other questions here, and maybe we'll go to the other parts. Let's see, what else do we have here? How will reparations be paid and measured to ensure the form of payment aligns with the estimate of damages? How will reparations be paid and measured to ensure the form of payment aligns with the estimate of damages? That's man, these are some tough.
That is a tough one, and that's the reason why the task force is deciding. Right?
Are y'all want to attempt this question, or
I'll say this: cash must be included.
Word.
You know what I mean? There has to be some programs. There's going to be a need for some laws to be put in place, to ensure that that we don't have the same thing happening again, right? Like, we want to try to meet the 5, aspects of reparations according to the UN, standards, right?
Yep.
The law standards. So, I mean, in my opinion, that's what it should look like. the measuring aspect, I think that's something potentially, which we've been advocating for the Freedmen's Bureau. They can
Facts.
probably have like an oversight committee within that can actually assist with like measuring, right, and reporting back on like what's happened within our community. But when we get reparations, I'll go there myself and report back. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing good. Like the home ownership then went up. You know what I mean? Like our community doing way better. We got way more businesses because that's what it's going to look like when we get reparations.
Facts.
That sounds exactly what where they're moving to as well. I know Chairperson Camilla Brown had spoke about the Freedmen's Bureau extensively during the Oakland meeting, and I think that's really right there. That being the headquarters, that's going to be the key to everything of getting resolved. You know what I mean? Because that's what they were trying to do after the Civil War broke. Okay, they put together that bureau to try to make these black people whole so they could be self-sustaining. Okay, so they could take care of themselves, they can get a job, they can get an education. Of course, after 15, 16 years, they abandoned that project.
Yep.
And then the next thing you know, we're getting lynched left and right, but I won't go all into that. But the Freedmen's Bureau, I'm glad you brought that up, Josiah. I do think that is going to be one of the key elements to moving this,
Facts.
everything to circulate to center around those 5 harms and get things sorted out where they can determine who gets eligibility, what they will get. Okay, because they even talked about education too. Okay, they want those in the books. Okay, you heard Don Tamaki say what he wants to happen done. Because we don't want this to go away after everything, has been resolved. After they cut the checks.
Yeah. All right. So let's continue with this. I'm gonna put this back up. Okay. I mean, we don't have to go deep into this, but they did mention some wealth gap information. Just kind of this was when who was in it? It was discussion action on average recommend.
Tax law consideration.
That was
kind of like what they were talking about wealth gap too.
Yeah, Lewis and experts. Was that the one with Kramer and Lewis,
right. Kramer,
or was this? There was somebody else, right?
That spoke,
Yeah.
As far as those tax law considerations, that was spoke by the other company.
Now, was this before lunch or after lunch? I think that was before lunch, right? All right, so let's kind of go into that one. Would you guys?
No, you're right. The tax law consideration thing was right after lunch.
Was that after lunch? Well, regardless if it was before or after lunch, kind of what do you guys think about their presentation and their information? Do you think it was pretty thorough? Or
real quick about that one too. I really like that. We was talking about graphics and and documentations and stuff and all this stuff, and a lot of that stuff that they basically use coming out of the interim report. Okay,
Yep.
That's what they use, and it was just a pretty good, interesting discussion because this is what people don't understand. That's really where it's all at. These tax codes and these tax laws and things like that. Okay, that's what really controls the wealth. Okay, this one of the discussion that I heard Friday talking about today. Okay, if we understood more about that, going into reparations, we wouldn't have as much problem that we have. Okay, because those tax laws, as complicated that they are, that's the key to everything. That is the key to like they showed the one guy who figured it all out, and they showed him kind of expanded and stuff like that because he was getting rich off the tax codes. Okay.
Well, she mentioned like the exemptions or something.
Exemptions.
Like that?
And okay. Who else is doing that? Donald Trump does that. That's how he's been beating the system. Okay. He has lawyers that knows about tax laws and tax codes and things like that. That's why he's where we're at. Okay. That's why this couple got up there and talked. That's why we were cut out of the wealth. Okay. These laws with with the red light and all those lead to those tax laws and those tax codes. That's what they were explaining today. And it was clever how they did it. Okay. Of course, they would tell these folks, ask them for the question, but they would answer themselves. It was really clever the way they did it and stuff. But I understood what they were talking about because that would control wealth in America.
Well, I'm gonna ask you to a rhetorical question, and then, well, I guess I'll ask you since past the mic. Do you think reparations should be taxed? And then I'm gonna just give your opinion
That's
on.
a quick answer. I'm gonna let you finish. Though.
I'm gonna throw you softball.
So I wanted to first start off by just saying, you know, in addition to the tax codes, we know that, you know, generational wealth transfers, right, is the primary source, you know, of the wealth gap, right? You know, all that stolen wealth, you know, has been passed down. It haven't been passed on to us, you know, and one of the things I think was mentioned by Senator Stephen Bradford was, you know, that if wealth can be passed down, then so should debt, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and just in my opinion, like when you think of these banks and everything else, like they don't be like, oh, you know what, that was so long ago, you don't owe me. Like, you know what I mean? They're gonna be sending people after you, like, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying that, you know, our debt, you know, much longer, much wider, affecting our whole communities. You know, the current condition we're in, you know, it has to be paid. But in regards to taxes, no, no, we shouldn't have to pay taxes. I mean, I think, you know, like there's different ways of how we can come up with the reparations funds, but I don't think we should have to pay taxes on a debt that is owed to us.
Am I wrong? Maybe you guys have some knowledge. If you guys have any knowledge, if you owned a slave back in the 1800s or 1700s, did they tax them for having slaves? Okay, because we're out there, we sweating, man. We working hard. You know, it's 100-degree weather out there. We ain't getting. Of course, you can't tax us because we're not making no money anyway. We're making money for you. Yep. So were they getting taxed in? That's just a question that I have. Okay, but coming into this situation, no, reparations should not be taxed.
Well, what about?
It's too much.
Well, what about when and I can't remember their two names. It was a black man and a white woman, as you mentioned, and they were mentioning. I think that both of them mentioned that they have some really wealthy clients or something to that effect.
Yes.
What, Josiah? What do you think about both of them? I can't remember which one said about like them having some sympathy or they don't know how to spend their money or what. I mean, what do you think about? I mean, don't you think like if, and I don't know which billionaires because he didn't disclose who his clients were, but I mean, I'm just gonna go out and say on the limb that I just don't feel like whatever clients he's talking about hasn't targeted Friedman, you know, specifically. I could be wrong, but like I don't even know what he was talking about when they're talking about they don't know how to spend their money. So can you kind of just give us your take on, you know, that kind of comment?
That's a wild comment. I honestly don't know how to respond to that specifically. But I mean, in reality, you know, they're entitled to think that, right? But that's kind of crazy to even think about. Just seeing the condition of our people, right? We know how to spend our money, right? And in a lot of cases, you know what I mean? Like we only can spend our money on certain things. So to be kind of showing sympathy towards like someone with billions is kind of an interesting perspective. You know what I mean? Like we know how to spend it. Like we know how to save it. We know how to survive. Like, so in my opinion, you know, I mean, I think more sympathy should be shown to us, you know, but basically from what I heard as well, right? I heard, you know, that they were, you know, happy to be able to discuss, you know, ways that we can actually get justice and, you know, for our people at the same time, and pretty much talk about like what we need, you know, and I'm trying to think as well, what was it was something else that they said. I can't remember right now. I think somebody, I ended up getting into another conversation, but the point is that like their focus was, you know, actually talking about justice for our community at the same time, despite, you know, some of the different sympathy and everything else. He did mention someone by name, I think. I thought I heard Bill Gates, you know, but I thought I remember him mentioning Bill Gates as well. But, you know, like in my opinion, when I hear stuff like that, I just think about all the bailouts that these large people was receiving.
Facts.
Like that's the first thing that come to my mind. You know what I mean? And they get all the sympathy, right? You know what I mean? But whenever we try to get something from the government, it's considered a handout, right?
Yeah.
But these companies, they go bankrupt on a regular occasion. You know, they're getting millions. People got so much in the PPP loans.
Yep.
We had to fight just to get a stimulus. So that's more so what I think about when I hear stuff like that.
I did hear a conversation like that too. It's like, you know, other people come from other countries and they set them up so they, you know, so they can get started and you know, start gaining wealth immediately. But when they try to do us some type of way, like you said, it's a handout. Okay, we shouldn't be doing that. Pull yourself up out of your bootstraps. I heard that.
You got to work harder.
You got to work harder. Okay, but you're redlining me. Okay, you're not giving me those loans that you're giving them.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not giving me that promotion, that job that you're giving them. Okay, you're not giving me a chance to build that house. You know, that big 3-4 bedroom house like they are up in the hills somewhere right there. So yeah, it's a lot of obstacles.
Facts. All right. Well, we're actually, man, this is funny how time flies. So we're actually 46 minutes into this discussion. So that's what where we're going. But before we get into communication, I just briefly, if you guys just want to briefly comment, we don't have to go, but we're definitely going to get into communication. Okay. So because we'll end on communication. But let's talk about some of the municipal reparation efforts that are happening right now in San Francisco, in Berkeley, and this is basically in our neck of the woods, San Francisco, Berkeley, and Sacktown, Sacramento. So let's go into that a little bit. What do you guys think about those presentations?
Oh, the presentations, like they were detailed, right? There was, pictures, right? You know what I mean? Like, pictures. Like it was like, like excellent presentations that was given. I would say, I like the information that they discuss as well on their efforts. I like hearing from San Francisco that even though they've been in there a lot longer than some of the other ones, that they're still working on it, right? They know that there's different things that they need to work on more. And I know that was kind of discussed more so when the chair had presented her question regarding the eligibility aspect, and they understood that it's something that they needed to work on. Berkeley is really new, but the presentation was excellent, and I know, as being part of grassroots, we have to reach out, to, and I believe he was the vice mayor, right?
Ben Bartlett.
Yeah, Bartlett of Berkeley. Yeah, so we have to reach out to them and then try to aid as well, since we've been in this fight for a long time. And Sacramento, was excellent. Like, what I mean? Like the way they had it, they even had something that was essentially important that I haven't heard yet from any of the other groups, was that, they define the actual efforts that they take as equity programs instead of defining it as reparations, with the goal to push for a federal reparations program, which is true reparations, right? So I think that's essential, especially for a city, with a limited budget. You kind of want to refer to it as an equity program, because if it's not meeting the 5 harms, then it's not necessarily defined as reparations.
Well, that was, and then I want to segue into the communication. I know you have something to say.
I'll
but
just piggyback on what Josiah was.
I just want to mention this real quick with Tom before we did. We're actually going to talk more in depth about the San Francisco reparations, because there's a lot of misinformation about that. So we're definitely going to talk about that, especially the ARC family. But I just wanted to mention that before we go on, just to let the viewership know that we're going to really dive deep into that one, because there's a lot of, misinformation. There's just a lot of, so-called eligibility requirements that are in there. So we're going to definitely do a deep dive. But Tony, brother, go in, brother.
Get into that right now. No, I would. What Josiah was speaking about Sacramento, that was Kelly Fong Rivas.
Rivas, yes.
Who works in the office of the mayor, Daryl Steinberg, in Sacramento. And she was the main presenter of that segment.
Shout out to Kelly Rivas.
Oh yes. And I like the information. The passionate message that she put out about the young man in Memphis who was brutally killed by these.
Yeah, rest in power.
Yes. Yes. But yeah, Kelly and I have a couple of conversations and some lunches over the efforts that they have been making in Sacramento. They're really trying to be expansive. They need to be expansive about what they're trying to do because of the harms and atrocities that has happened to the Black community there, which really leads all the way up to Coloma, the gold rush and stuff. But it's mainly Sacramento and City of Sacramento and Sacramento County. And she has really pulled together a lot of resources to make these things happen as far as the research, to get the information out there, to find out what was going on, what's happening in these certain communities, the Black communities that I'm talking about. And that's where you come up with the equity plan and everything like that. We didn't talk extensively about those situations too. So that's why I just want to put a point on emphasis of what she's been doing in Sacramento.
Okay, facts. So let's just get into it, man. Let's go. I don't know if you all want to jump into the communications and then just wrap it up. Let's. So let's get into it. The communications. Go right ahead.
I was just gonna say real quick, shout out to Chris too, because I see him on that picture. You know what I mean? He's out there working, rubbing elbows with the influential. You know what I mean? That's how we do. So but regards to communications, there definitely needs to be much more effective communications. I understand, that it was presented as something that needed to be, kind of reviewed by the task force members, and then they add their different, suggestions and things like that. But I don't think the task force, should have been required to do spell check, right? Just because some of the things and some of the issues on there, just from the little bit that we actually saw, spell check could have, helped, fix it. And so I think a lot more work needs to be done in regards to that. And we saw those other presentations right afterward, in comparison. So, I know because I've had to create, I've had to create a lot of different presentations. And if I just had a slideshow with just a gang of words on there, it wouldn't be accepted pretty much, And so I'm just saying that it's a lot more work needs to be done. I'm just gonna keep it basic, and I'll let Tony go.
You're still in the same situation that you was a year ago, because I don't know what you're doing. I'm saying I'm not trying to dog anybody. I'm not trying to be critical of it, but these things have to be said because you haven't contacted me. I done read about 30 stories on this. And, we're doing it. Okay, all right. California Black media has been in this fight before Assembly Bill 3121 became law. Okay, I don't know if anybody has reached us, in a certain way to let us know the activities that's going on as far as communication. I don't know if that's one of the communications issues, but I know I'm not. It's an issue with me. Okay, and when I see things like, you got a timeline, and I don't see no dates, I don't see no graphs, I don't see it's just a couple lines. Okay, you're not going anywhere with that. Okay, you could have did it the night before, I don't know, 2 days before, but it doesn't seem like you put a lot of thought into it. Okay, these things have to be talked about. Okay, where are the people at? Are you getting the community? I know we talked about the billboards and things like that. I understand the situation going on like that, but the whole thing was to go to the Black media, go to the ethnic media, and try to get them involved and engaged and get these things out here. Go to the churches, go on the radio, hey, come to these meetings, be engaged. If you're not come to the meeting, we're going to send you out some information. You're going to find out what's going on. None of that is happening. I'm sorry. None of that is happening, folks. And it's not happening. Okay. Wherever this is going, if it's going to be the blueprint, I told you this, Josiah. I told you so. You're going to have to write that in the bill. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. I done talked to a couple task force members. I'm not going to mention these people by name. Okay. And that's what they would like to see. Okay. Why are you spell checking? And you did a good job of it too. Okay. All right. Okay. Because and language wise too, because you got Black Americans over here, you got African Americans over here. Okay. All right. We got some issues with that. Okay. cardinal rule in my business, you don't misspell names. You don't get dates wrong. And you do not get telephone numbers wrong. And you do not get email addresses wrong. Okay. You cannot do that and then call yourself a communication. Okay.
Did they get the AB 3121?
You got the bill wrong.
I mean,
you got the bill, the name of the bill, Assembly Bill 3121. Okay. The California Task Force Reparations. Okay. For Africa. You got that wrong. Okay. No. Okay?
So you do agree with Chair Moore saying that there needs to be a higher level of expectation?
Quality means everything in this whole thing. Okay, because I'm not gonna go there because that would fuel some of the stuff go on there. But maybe you guys understand what I'm saying like that. Okay, this stuff got to be right.
Yeah.
Okay, they said that Dr. Grill and all of them said this. Okay, they're gonna come and they're gonna tear this thing down. They're gonna look for things. They're gonna poke holes in this thing. Okay, this is this could be I shouldn't say that either. Okay, but you have to have all this stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, somebody come out there and tell me, you know what? You wrote this story on me, but you put the wrong phone number in there. There's nobody calling me. Okay, I know people want to call me about my business, about my service and stuff. That's no help to them. Okay, that's no help to them. All right. What? Who? Okay. I know the Oakland Post, the Los Angeles Sentinel, the San Diego Advertiser. All this San Bernardino Black Voice and all this, getting that information out there. Okay. Are you reaching out to them like you're supposed to be? Okay. All right. Because I don't see it, but I only KQED, those reporters.
Shout out to KQED.
Still in this
Lakshmi
game.
and Annalise in the building.
You ain't got to tell them nothing. They gonna be
building.
In the
Shout
building.
out to KQED.
Okay. So like I said, I don't want to get too far into that. Of course, maybe I've been a little critical, but I only want the effort to be there, and I want the quality, the standards, to be enhanced. Okay. You got to bump that up. Okay, we're gonna make this happen because when the other people look at it, especially people who are opposed to what's happening here as far as reparations, okay, you are going to give them something to tear down, to set the building on fire. Okay, can't put out a timeline out there. I would not put that out there like that. Okay, I'm just being honest with you. Okay, all right. I know when I was going to Sacramento State, and one of the things I had this class that we had to learn how to write press releases and things like that.
Yep.
And these press releases go to journalists. So if you're a journalist, you got to know what you're looking for and what you want. Okay, you just can't be throwing nothing up out there because I can't get the information out there right. Okay, so you understand what I'm saying?
Facts.
Okay, we had to do it from all type of angles as a reporter to understand how this game works. Okay, and who they're feeding it to. Okay. Who are the the best go-to people? Okay, radio station, television, print, now digital, online stuff. Okay, so they can get this information out there. All those things are important. What I've been hearing, basically since LA, is the same thing that the other communication firms were trying to do, and they never did. They walked away. Okay, bless their hearts, because everybody's been trying, but you got to get this thing right. Okay, I don't know what level of expertise that you may have or what other areas it is, but this is serious in so many levels.
Yeah, bro. And if I just may interject, and we got a couple minutes and we're gonna get out of here. But first of all, brothers, I want to thank you too for your time, man. I'm really appreciating, the family really appreciates it. And I want to say something especially about brother Tony and Tony Amore. I'm gonna say this straight up, bro. I so much appreciate you, right? Because
shout out to Tony.
People don't understand, brother, like as far as like media in the trenches, like this brother, I mean, not only is he colleged, went to school, but he's for the people. You know what I mean? And I'm just gonna give my shout out a little bit. Like I have a degree in communications. Family, please understand this. I have a degree in communications from Arizona State University. So you're talking about two freedmen, right? Who aren't just here messing around. And to be honest with you, Tony could be doing something different. and I could be doing something
Yep.
different.
Shout out.
Let's just keep
in
it
the mass
real.
media.
Let's just keep it real as real can get. And I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna put this on record or non-record, and I don't give a dang. California black media, right, got overlooked. I'm gonna put it straight out there. Now I know, Tony, you know, you didn't have to say that, but I'm independent. I can say what the hell I want to say. So you guys got straight overlooked, and I don't understand, and it makes no sense, right, that at least this communication firm isn't coming to the California black media. You guys basically, and if correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, you guys got the Sacramento Observer as an agency. You got a whole, you guys got what, 12, 13 really independent. There you go, 25 or 30, right?
I'm gonna let you finish. There's other. I'm sorry, Josiah. Thank you. There's other.
No, we gotta
there's other
get into it. We
entities
gotta
out
talk
there-
about it, bro.
There's other entities out there that are not authorized to use this information, are using it.
Facts.
Okay, but when they do, they credit California black media. Okay,
That's crazy.
We see it up on their website. For that reason alone, we don't touch them. Okay, it's not what they're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to call and get permission, but they do credit where the source where they got it from. Okay, we do thank them for that. Okay, can reach out to us and let us know what you're doing. We appreciate you know getting the information out there. That's so important, you know, to disseminate the information for the community, because that's what I'm here for. Okay, I want you people to understand what's happening here. Okay, so but yes, it's about 25, 30 of them. And I do have to say, yes, the Observer been on it. As far as publishing it,
and you've been writing
I'll
some
give
great
you one
articles,
person
bro.
too, you know, because he probably behind the scene and you know he's doing his own thing. Craig DeLuz, okay, he's getting that stuff up there immediately, and effectively, okay, and that's important too. So thank you for bringing up the Observer too. I almost missed that out too, but they're doing that part.
Yeah, so Observer is putting it out there, and Josiah, and then if you want to end it, and then I'll let you two say what you need to say. But I just really want people to know just how overlooked Freedman Media is, right? How much effort we put into what we're doing to give people the information and to get overlooked. Shout out to the great ancestor Ida B. Wells. That's all I have to say. Shout out to Ida B. Wells in the beginning.
Yep.
Shout out to the ancestors, because if it wasn't her and people like her, wouldn't even want to even do this work. You're not even close, man. So, you know, I mean, we got to give life on the line, fam. And so it's unfortunate. I think at this point it's probably too late, but at least if Charles Communications is not getting a hold of the California black media, I'm just going to say it, they need to go. I'm just going to say it. That if they're not, for some reason, one of their representatives is not disseminating information, getting a hold of now,
either that or put it in the hands of these
or something.
They don't want out there
Something, man.
Communities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not even in New York. They're not saying they're not in New York. My bad. I don't know where they're from, to be honest. They have to double check where Charles Group is, but they're not even in California.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Right?
Okay.
They're not located in California.
Oh, okay.
So I could be wrong. Don't misquote me. And if I'm wrong, please let me know in the chat. And later on we can correct that. But from my understanding, they aren't located. They might have a office out here. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that they're not located. And we'll follow up with it. I mean, regardless, we're going to do what we're going to do. Yeah.
Right. Say, hey, here I am. You know, give me a call or nothing like that.
Shout out Black Media Group.
Up and down the state.
Yeah.
Up and down the state. Okay. And on the in that too, you know, what you guys are doing. I'm sorry. Give me the mic. What you guys are doing too. Okay, because y'all been one of my number one sources. Okay. When I'm going through all these hours and hours and hours and stuff like that, I depend on CJEC. I depend on the Mass Media Group to get my information and get it correct. Okay. I even watch Blacks in Politics, you know, the thing that
PIB,
Friday Jones and
Politics
Chad,
and Black,
okay,
Chad Friday.
Politics and Blacks. Let me get that right. See, there you go. Okay. Those things are, like you said, in the spirit of Ida B. Wells, these things are essential. Okay.
Right.
And this is what we're talking about. Okay. Okay. And Ida B. Wells was not out there saying, y'all was doing this, y'all was doing this. Look what you're doing with us in the name of humanity.
Facts.
You know that's not right. That's how she was writing it. Okay. That's how she was writing. And that's how everybody else presented to it as far as our own media platform. So
shout out. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, I just wanted to shout out, you know, the Tony, he bringing that fire, you know what I mean? So he got to
Tony bring that
mic,
straight
you know,
fire, boy.
it's just in him. He can't let, you know, he got to let it out, you know what I mean? So, no, yeah, but, you know, of course, you know, Black Media Group, you know, Men to Mass Media, like y'all the ones really boots on the ground, you know what I mean? Getting out to the people doing this work for free. You know, organizations like us, CJEC, you know, that's why we align so well. You know what I mean? We are dedicated to ensure that we can get what our people need, you know, in any way possible, right? You know what I mean? And so I'm just happy to be a part, you know, of this, you know, to the interview, you know, and you know, being on this journey with you towards getting justice for our people. You know what I mean? Like, this, yeah, all the way, you know, all the way to the top, right? All the way until justice. You know what I mean? Like we got into this, you know, because like we seen the need. Right. We seen the need and we seen what was lacking in our community, you know, and I know that for me specifically, you know, seeing the conditions of my community, you know, is what motivated me, you know, to want to, you know, join this fight, right, in order to get justice, you know, and I see you trying to get it out to the people. We need the people to hear. We need the people to know what's going on. And the work you're doing is extremely important. You know what I mean? And so I'm just, you know, happy, you know, to be, you know, to be in this with you and you know, and glad that,
I'm glad, you know,
yeah,
these, you know, that's what we do. You know, we
continue.
We build these relationships
Yep.
so we can get to where we need to be.
Yeah.
You know, as people, and it's an important, critical time right now. And
yeah.
I think, you know, up and down the state, okay, because I've been connecting with people up and down the state, the right people.
Yeah.
I've been introduced and put in the, you know, in the same space of the right people to make those type of things happen. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. We're the ones doing it. We're the communication companies. Here we are sitting, you know, hours after the meeting has expired, and we have another few hours before the next one starts, and we're going to do it again. And we're trying to explain to people what's going on, try to articulate it to get the message out there so y'all can understand what's happening here. Because you might have some dollars coming. Okay. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah. We're trying to put some money in your pocket. Okay. We've been wronged. Okay. Yeah. We've been so sorely wrong out of everything that goes on up in here. Okay. Aren't you tired of going into the department store and somebody's always judging you and looking at you all crazy? Or when you go to the bank and you asking for a loan to get a house and they're, oh, I'm about to get this person. They're going to pay a high interest rate out this world, and I'm going to put them in the worst neighborhood to do it. Okay. Aren't you tired of that? You want your kids to have a great education. Okay. You want that house. You want to build it from the ground up, or you just want to buy it outright. Okay. All this is owed to us. Okay. All this is owed to us because number one, okay, we're here, but we're Africans. Okay, they brought us over here for a purpose. They used us up. Now they're trying to move on and act like ain't nothing happened.
Yep.
Okay, you want to tell your kids that you know what? Oh, it's okay. No. That's why I'm out here. Yeah. That's why I'm out here. Y'all need to understand that when we talking about the Port Chicago thing, and please look that up. Port Chicago explosion that happened June 17, 1944, 42. I forget the year. I shouldn't be forgetting those type of dates, but it's a serious issue in history that happened with the Naval Academy up in Concord, right on the other side of Oakland.
You're
not too far from Richmond. Port
Vallejo?
Chicago.
Yeah, Vallejo.
Vallejo, Benicia, and all that area.
Yeah,
okay, yeah. Port Chicago. Okay, all right. And how they did those people, I'm telling you. Okay, and I learned this through those reparation meetings. Okay, 200 sailors got killed. And they were all black. 2/3 of them were black that were killed. The explosion, they said you could hear it all from the Bay Area all the way up to Reno. Okay. When it was time to settle up, okay, the white sailors' family got $5,000. The black sailors' family only got a couple $1,000, and 50 of them were court-martialed because they wouldn't go back and clean up that mess because they were scared for their lives. Okay. And these big bombs, torpedoes and stuff, that blew up, that never will be explained because it was just so devastating. Okay. But look that up. Okay. These things are wrong. Okay. And then they court-martialed these brothers. Then I was telling you about the 24. Okay. That's on Netflix. Read up about that history that happened outside of Houston, 1917, World War I. These black soldiers thought they were going to France to fight, in World War I, and they ended up I'm not going to say a riot, a massacre in Houston. Okay. And what they do, okay, they blamed it on these black soldiers and they hung half of them. They court-martialed them, then they hung them. Okay. But all they want to do is fight for their country. Okay. But they're still dealing with, racism because they was wearing that uniform. Okay. Yeah, that's why I'm out here. That's why I'm doing it. I know I can get passionate about these things. I don't usually get into these type of spaces, but a lot of the stuff that I've been picking up on, is through these reparation meetings. Okay, especially what was going on with that slave trade when Dr. Carolyn Jones, I think that was her last name. She's a doctor from Harvard University who did study on medical history with us, and what they were doing to us on these boats, on these ships, these slave ships. Okay, they had doctors on these boats. Okay, and they poking and prodding. Okay, and experimenting. We're guinea pigs, and and this is the best. This is the strong, the ones who could have in their childbearing years, strong, black men and things like that. That they wanted. The doctor was there to make sure that they were healthy and they get back to wherever they were going to, as far as the states and stuff. But they got them up on the gurney. They got them peeled open. They poking. They did this to us. Okay, that's why I'm doing this, because I want everybody to know this. A lot of people don't want to know what happened back to you. Oh, that happened. No, okay, all right, but you got to understand whether it was true or not. The Willie Lynch law. Y'all heard about this thing.
Oh,
okay, whether it's true or not, it's still going on today.
Yep, facts.
If you use these methods, they will last 300 or 400 years. That's basically what it was saying in this so-called doctrine. And that's what we're dealing with today. Okay. So now you got another generation of Ida B. Wells out there. I like to say me.
Facts. Well,
thank you for listening, though, folks. I know I'm this is what I do. This is the passion that I have. And I'm just trying to, make sure that our people understand what's going on. You can take it and do what you want. But as long as you have the knowledge, that's all that I really care about. Now, try to be as factual as much as possible, because this stuff is important. I want us, male and female, okay, young and old, to have some type of compensation, to have reparation, because we've just been totally wrong, okay? All right? I can't even go to Walmart or something like that with somebody, all the time, thinking that I'm the enemy or something. I just come in here to shop. That's harassment. You messing with me like that, okay? You focus on me like I'm, even in these little middle class areas, stores and stuff. I'm tired of all that stuff. It's not going away, but I'm tired of all this stuff. Why? Because you think I'm wrong or something. I'm evil or something like that. No. I want to live productively just like anybody else. Okay, but you done took a lot from us. Okay. I even see that around here in San Diego too, man. Shoot, this is Native American land over here, indigenous people land and stuff. Okay, that stuff got taken away from them too. I see that. Yeah,
facts, man. Well, I definitely want to thank you too for joining. And let me just say this before we get out here. I wish nothing but the best for the Charles Communications Group going forward here, and I think
let's be that,
Antonio.
Yes, let's be that, and I really do. But you need to understand, we have to talk about these things.
Yeah, we do.
We saw that, there was some exchanges. I'm not going to get into all of that. There was some indirect exchanges that was going on there. I got a lot of love for Camilla Moore, and man, she was really passionate about her stuff today.
She was on them.
Oh, she was on it.
She was on it.
But we want quality on this whole thing.
Yeah.
We want you to do well. We want to say,
we want you to be successful.
That carries the torch to make sure everybody understood, at least for the most part. And we're going to get something out of there because of your efforts.
Exactly.
That's my whole thing about this whole thing.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
All right, and then before we go, if you guys want to, it's up to you. But I know y'all have you guys have a Facebook page or something?
Oh, we got a Twitter, Arc Bay Area.
Arc Bay,
follow us
yeah.
on Arc Bay Area.
Alright.
Of course, you can always follow CJEC, because we the
CJEC.
same people anyway. You know what I mean? So follow them. Follow NASDLA. You know what I mean? So we're all connected. You know what I mean? I'm in the Mass Media Group. You know what I mean?
Give
You
us
wanna
a
see the
like,
task
share,
force?
and subscribe.
Yeah. Black Media Group, you know what I mean? Always holding it down as well. Just follow the people who's dedicated to your community, who's dedicated to you, who's not going to stop until we get justice. So
facts.
Like Chris Lodge said, "Oh, we gonna get them reparations. Y'all gonna cut them checks. Yeah.
Cut them checks."
That's basically where we are, though. But I appreciate y'all taking the time out and listening. We're not done here yet.
Definitely not
Got a lot
done.
more work to do.
A lot more work. And family, just want to say we got this gentleman, Tony Harvey, who's actually premieres in the Reparations Now documentary. We're actually done editing, got the final edit done, wrapping things up, getting the final touches on it, looking for a release date. And when that release date is done, we will let you all know. But in the meantime, y'all, be safe, be easy. As a matter of fact, let me real quick before we get out of here, I'm just gonna quickly read because I was about to get out of here, family, and then I was like, oh snap, I wanted to do this real quick. But this is live TV or live YouTube, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so tomorrow, January 28th, it looks like they're going to be redressing the harms delineated in Report 1. And I believe also in Tony, please correct me, and Josiah, please correct me. They're also going to go over and they're going to talk more about the California residency, correct?
Yes.
As well as too. Okay,
The
so
table for tomorrow. Yeah.
so they're going to do that as well, but also on the agenda, public comments at 9:05 to 10:05. So family, if you want to call in, please call in early. Don't be calling in at 9 o'clock. I'm telling you, you will not get in. Call in early, and if you are showing up, show up earlier than just 9 o'clock. 10:15 you're going to be in the building, because I'm telling you right now, though, that public comment line, and Josiah, he can attest to this, it gets packed real quick. You may not get your chance. As a matter of fact, there was like about 10, 12 people that didn't have a chance to get their public comment. So if you do come in, call in, get there early. It looks like there's going to be a discussion and action on the advisory committees, final recommendations, political remedies, remedial programs, laws, and apologies for atrocities, and interim report part 1, excuse me. Presenters in the task force, lunch. What else is on here? Some more apologies for atrocities and interim report part 2. Discussion action next meeting. Discussion potential action unfinished business, and then looks like they're gonna have to wrap up at 5 o'clock. I mean, DOJ was like, we ain't got no choice. We wrapping up, and so we got to get it in. So family, please tune in right here on ETM Media Group. You can also go on to the DOJ's task force website, but we do like you to tune in here, especially because we keep it facts over fiction. We keep it raw. We keep it interesting. And I just want to say this: we don't ban anybody off our channel, but I'm just saying, if you can not curse, that's the only thing we say. Y'all can say pretty much whatever you want to say, no cursing. But whatever you say, we're not going to ban you. I mean, you guys got the right, on this channel to say what you want to say. All right, fam. So on that note, once again, peace, love, and reparations. And I just want to say good night, God bless, and give a shout out to partner Antonio Harvey in the building and Josiah Williams in the building. All right, y'all. Till tomorrow, love, peace, and reparations. And until then, peace.
Peace. Good show. Thank you, man. Thank
Of course, man.
Oh yeah, I really do. I really do. Every once in a while, you need that, that motivation. Let somebody out there let you know that you're doing which is the right thing. Because a lot of people don't understand that. They probably just take it for granted.
The way it currently stands, forced labor, slavery takes precedence over rehabilitation and public safety.
Oh, by the way, while the Biden administration gives reparations to everyone but free people, look at the billions he has run over to Ukraine.
We don't have black grocery stores because if you think about it now, just to get in that supply chain, it's almost unheard of.
They don't want the truth to get out. Okay? I don't want to know what my family did or what all these people did and all this stuff like that. Okay? You read that 500-page report.
There's this thing called white superiority and black inferiority. That mindset allows all of the behaviors that we've seen across generations, allows for the construction of these policies and practices and systems and structures that continue to oppress us. This is not a handout. This is a debt that is owed.
You know, Allensworth was like the internet of his time in 1904, 1905.
The total black population in California is about 2.6 million, and then of that, the descendants compose about 2.2 million of that. So California, with a multi-billion-dollar surplus, can absolutely afford to satisfy the international terms for reparations, beginning with compensation.
Any financial obstacle that exists that impedes the success of increasing financial prosperity needs to be dealt with and eliminated.
No matter where we've been, no matter what part of this fight we've been in, we've been harmed, and we've had harm done to us specifically.
When I got to Los Angeles, this was some of the worst segregation I'd ever seen. And remember, I'm telling you, I'm from Mississippi.
Because as you can see, I'm giving you broken history right now, you know? But I had to give it to you guys today. I said, no, I got to show them this because it's so precious and nobody really knows about it.
Black people don't have that kind of luxury. Our historically black communities have been redistricted multiple times.
Now listen, if you can't handle the TR roof, don't tune in.